Randy, thank you so much for taking the time to join this interview. Congratulations on launching Adventure Stories to the Google Play Store. iOS, I know, is coming soon. I'm super excited to get to know more about you and tell the audience about your journey building Adventure Stories. Do you mind kicking things off and telling us who you are, what your background is, and the name of your app?
Yeah, the name of my app is simply Adventure Stories. I have always been a corporate doing instructional design and business analyst and a project manager and all that fun stuff. But I really have a passion for writing children's stories. So I decided to do a YouTube channel. That didn't pan out, doesn't pay what you think it's going to pay. So I decided to just go rogue and build my own app where I could write my stories and give them to the world.
I didn't even know you had a YouTube channel. That's so cool. How long have you been working on that for?
I did that for about, I'd say 8 months, where I did full blown like 30-minute videos,
Okay.
animated videos.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. And
So
then
how did you so then from that, how did you come up with the idea for an app?
yeah, so, I was really disappointed when I found out that, I really wasn't going to make any money on YouTube because children's videos don't have advertising.
Oh,
That
that's a
regular,
huge problem. Yeah.
yeah, it's a huge problem, right? You could make $2 for a children's video versus $8 to $12 for a regular video per thousand views. So this wasn't going to make the money that I was hoping to make from it. So I just sat down one night and I was, thinking about it. And I'm like, I keep hearing all this stuff about no code apps. And I started, searching it, and I thought, why not just make an app? Put all my stories in an app and make it available to people,
Yeah.
make it to children for children. So but
And
I
so
just decided to go
you
rogue. Yeah,
so you went rogue, but do you know how to code?
I do not know how to code. I
Okay. So
know
then
nothing about it.
so then how did you I guess connect the two? Like you don't know how to code, you wanted to build an app. What were you feeling at that time and why'd you kind of push through even though you didn't know how to code?
Yeah, well, I did in corporate. I was in the IT group,
Okay.
so I felt like, gee, maybe some of my coworkers are familiar with this. Um, and nobody was,
Oh
unfortunately.
goodness.
Totally different kind of coding.
Yeah.
But I just started watching YouTube videos, and I heard a Flutter Flow, and I thought, I was watching the videos. I'm like, this is kind of a no-brainer. So I started just kind of jumping in and pulling things together and thinking, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. And then I ran into that wall, right? Where you're like, yeah, I can pull a few widgets in, but I don't know what a variable is, and I don't know
Oh yeah.
how to create actions. And I really needed better education on how to do it. But I knew it was what I wanted to do. I knew that I really wanted to invest in myself and invest in this. And you're never too old to learn,
No,
right? So,
definitely not.
um, yeah, I just
But you
kind of
bring up a good point. There are these really awesome no code tools out there, but you still need to have the computer science fundamentals. Like you need to know what a variable is. You need to know a little bit about functions, inputs and outputs. There are some fundamentals of computer science that are required even when you're using no code, low code tools. So it's good that you recognize that. And that is the gap, that brick wall that a lot of people are hitting. It's like they're jumping in, they're committed to building it, but then they run into these walls. And they're just looking for a solution. So, I mean, tell me about that. You ran into this brick wall. How did you find Ambitious Labs at that point?
I was just searching everything I could on Flutter Flow and building your own app on the web and on YouTube and ChatGPT, of course. So
Yeah.
I was just searching everywhere, and I just came across one of your videos on YouTube,
Oh, really?
and the program that you had. And so I started looking at it a little bit more and, thinking about that's where you get to the point of, this is an idea that I have, and I kind of have the drive to do it, and I want to do it, to I believe in this. I believe in what I'm doing, and I'm ready
Mm,
to invest financially and emotionally and educate and learning and saying, yeah, this is definitely something I'm going to push forward with because I'm now financially committed to it.
For sure. And it's no small amount of money, right? It's like it's a pretty significant amount of money for almost everyone. And so how were you thinking about that? Like it wasn't cheap. There are cheaper courses out there. But how did you think about yeah, the justification for our price point and how that would affect you?
So what I did was I thought about there are things that I want to do or that I need to do that I don't know how to do. And do I pay for a developer or do I educate myself so that I can do this? And moving forward, if anything goes wrong with my app, I have the capability and the knowledge to fix it and understand it and know how I built it from the ground up. Or I could pay a developer thousands of dollars to do it. And then every time something goes wrong with my app or I need to improve it or I want to make it better, I have to call that developer.
Yeah.
For me, it was a no-brainer of I'm not paying a developer because I have to manage this. Like if
Did you get a quote from a developer ever? Did you ever like reach out to devs to see how much it would cost to have the app built for you?
no, I didn't.
Okay.
I just looked at what their hourly wages were and um, some other analysis that I did just kind of
Yeah.
offline on my own to find
Well,
out,
the cool thing is like
for
you're
developer.
also an I you're also an IT, right? And so you can now, I hope, take some of these skills and apply them to your career. Do you feel like you can do that? Like, do you feel like you've learned, you know, full stack app development, integrations? Have you learned anything that you feel like you can take to your next job or your next
Oh
opportunity?
yeah, I've learned a ton of stuff. I came on board knowing, a SQL and some of that stuff, but I did not know um, the NoSQL database structure,
Oh, right, right, right,
right?
right.
So now I can do both and take that in what I'm doing in the future. Um, and a lot of Flutter Flow is common sense and understanding relationships between your data and what you're doing. And that has really helped me connect the dots. There was a lot of things that I did in IT that I didn't know how the database related to the software
Mm.
product we were developing, and now I can connect those.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah,
Very nice.
learned quite a bit.
Um, So that's exciting that you're able to take some of these skills and apply it to the work world. You know, we've seen some people do it successfully. I'm waiting to see somebody successfully get a raise at work or demand like a higher salary based on like their new skills. So I hope that you can potentially be that person for us.
Yeah.
It'd be sweet.
I mean, I left
But
the
yeah,
corporate world for this, or not for
sorry.
this. I mean, I left the corporate world altogether. This is like 100% in for me.
Oh,
Like,
nice.
so,
That's awesome. And so now I hope maybe the better success story is how do we get you to go full time on this and replace your full time income with this? That's a real success story. No, but we'll get you there for sure. And so, yeah, let's jump into the app. So you have this really cool niche that you validated through your YouTube channel. And that's honestly like one of the biggest keys to success in any business, right? It's like build build the parachute as you jump off the plane. Don't build the plane first, or don't have the parachute and then uh, get on the plane. Like, just take the leap of faith and figure it out on your way down. I think you did that in two different ways. One, you quit your job. That's bold. And then, secondly, you had the YouTube channel and you knew there was this niche for adventure stories and children's stories, and you knew that the CPMS are really low on YouTube, and that there was definitely a market for it. So you did that. You got the validation kind of out of the way, and then now you were building it. Um, how has that helped you in building your app? And like, I'll be honest, your mental health and going through that self doubt that I feel every day, even as the founder of this company, like, is somebody going to use this app? Are there people out there who want it? Like, how has, the YouTube channel and like doing the stuff that you did early helped you get through all of that?
yeah, a lot of it is just my passion, right? I have a
Mm,
passion for doing this, for writing the children's stories and doing the animation and doing the artistic piece of it. But I don't know if you, I don't know if you remember when you were young, if you had those choose your own adventure books, where you got to read a chapter and then it said, choose A to go to to the planet, choose B to,
I remember it happening. I remember at school, we had like those interactive sessions with teachers. Yeah, so I remember that for sure.
yeah. And the one thing that YouTube is missing and other apps are missing is interactivity when it comes to reading a book,
For
right?
sure.
That's what keeps kids engaged, is the ability to interact with what you're doing instead of just looking at it and, reading along, scrolling and hitting play, 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 play.
Yeah.
So I really wanted to, and that's what drove me to the idea of getting off of YouTube and doing an app was I wanted something interactive for kids, but still make it available or still make it educational for them, right? Because when you're doing choose your own adventure stories and you're picking where your story goes, like you're learning decision-making skills. You're using critical thinking to make that decision and understanding the consequences of your decision. And you're
Wow.
using memory to remember, because you can do a story over and over and over again. All of the
Yeah.
stories have like 17 to 20 different endings. So you have to
Yeah.
remember what you did and where you went. And so I learned from YouTube that static is great. Kids love to watch videos. I learned from other apps that, what is kind of the standard of a
Mhm.
kid's story app, and making sure that I checked all those boxes. And then how could I make it unique? Make it interactive. Make a
Yeah.
book interactive and educational so that parents feel their children are getting value while being entertained. And
Yeah.
that got me excited.
The biggest thing I hear from you right there is that you're not afraid of competition. Like you saw that there were other apps out there
There's
and that didn't
tons,
scare
yeah,
you. You're not
tons.
worried about YouTube eating your lunch, even though they're a massive, massive company. You're like, hey, these are just opportunities and these are just shortcomings that I can come solve. So I'm
Yeah.
glad to hear that you're not afraid of competition. We talk to a lot of new builders too, and they're like, oh, this has already been done before. It's not going to work. Or like, what if somebody steals my idea? What if someone else launches it before me? Like,
Mhm.
there's so many ways that you can differentiate. And so I think you've done a good job of that.
Those were
But
concerns for me, but you kept telling me over and over, find your niche, find
mm,
your niche, find that one thing that makes your app special or different. And I did that. I did that with the choose your own adventure, the interaction, and nobody else is doing that. So
yeah,
I
I'm
feel
glad to hear that the hyper niching is definitely working. And I think you can even go deeper. Like one thing that's so cool about your way of thinking right now is that, and I know I've been coaching you on this a little bit too, but it's like sell the value proposition, sell the benefits of the stories. Like it's not just adventure stories. It's, make your child a better critical thinker, teach your child the consequences of making impulsive decisions, you know, um, problem solving, critical thinking, like all these benefits that come out of the stories that you're making. Like that's the real mindset that I think a lot of app builders, first time app builders, struggle to have. And so we're going to jump into your app, but I know you're optimizing your paywall and you're going to be doing your app store screenshots. And I think all that marketing that you do, like top of funnel, like that's how you make this differentiated. Like YouTube is not advertising critical thinking skills, business skills, problem solving skills. Like, but your product can absolutely market those. And at the end of the day, people buy products to extract benefits. And
mhm,
so the name of the game I feel like for apps are how do you build a product that effectively in like bite-sized format delivers some sort of benefit. And so
right.
that's what I'm gonna always push you on doing.
Yep. While
Very
letting
cool.
kids have fun, right? Because every parent wants to have
Nobody
that
wants a boring story, right?
learning.
Yeah. I said nobody wants a boring story.
No.
Very cool. Let's jump in. And yeah, you also mentioned one cool thing about your creativity. And honestly, like your app is so unique and creative, like in the sense of your UI. Cause like we obviously have our UI design kit and we have designers and we have this whole UI framework. But one cool thing that you did is like, and this is a really good thing, you didn't use any of it. Like you built all this from scratch, and you were like, I'm gonna do this on my own. I'm gonna have my own style. I don't I don't want to make it look like every other app. Like I'm gonna make this look like a damn comic book, like or a storybook. And I think that's sweet. Because your app actually looks awesome and it's so unique. It doesn't look like all of our other apps. And I'm being very, very genuine. I think it's going to do well because of how different it looks and how you've kind of brought the vibe of a storybook into your app. Were you going for that, by the way? Anything you want to say there?
No, thank you for the compliment. I appreciate that. You know, you get insecure about going rogue and doing your own thing, right? But
I might have to title this video "Randy Goes Rogue and Launches Her Own app, or storytelling app."
you can
That's
tell me,
awesome.
but it doesn't mean I'm going to do it, right? Like,
All right, so you added me to test flight, and I have your app open here. Would love for you to walk me through how this works.
um, yeah, so I still have to kind of redo these onboarding screens because I was having too much fun, I think, with the background than I was with the messaging.
That's okay.
But this one just highlights that you can interact with the stories and do it over and over and over again, and the benefits that children will get while they're playing and having fun. And it just kind of reminds parents that the kids can do the books over and over and over again, right? Like one story doesn't end just because you got to the end. You can do it, you know, lots and lots and lots of different times.
Yeah.
There's value in a lot of value in those books alone because it's not just one book, right?
Right.
It's one character, many books.
Sure. So if I go next here,
hmm
what's next?
So this talks about the free features. So I'm going to drop new stories every week that will be free. Autoplay. So if you have younger kids, you can just turn on the autoplay and the books will go through without them having to play a button or interact if they're very young. And then narration. You can turn the narration on or off depending on if you're reading the book to your child or the child is learning how to read and they want to listen while they're reading. So just those are the free features that come with the app natively.
Okay.
And then some of the pro features are you get unlimited stories, not just access to the free ones. You'll get all of them. I've also included some entertaining videos that were on my YouTube channel that you can get in the app now. So they're like 20, 30-minute videos.
Oh, very cool.
You'll be able to personalize your library. So you'll be able to favorite books. You'll be able to keep track of the stories that you've read. And then if you leave a book in the middle or a story in the middle, you can come back and pick up right where you left off. So those are some of the perks of the pro features. So it's not just a limitation of what books you can or stories you can read, but also features within the app that you benefit from for going pro.
Very cool. And I like how you've kind of juxtaposed the two, like free and then pro, so that people can see. Have you hooked up your analytics yet? Or are you still working on that?
I'm
The
still
mix,
working. Yeah.
the mixed panel stuff?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
because
don't know yet.
once you launch to the iOS App Store and you have your paywall up and running, definitely want to see how this conversion rate performs because I've never seen anything like this, and I totally think it can do really well. But I would love to see the data on it.
Yeah, I'll probably redo a bunch of those.
Nice. And then so now I have my authentication. I'm gonna go ahead and log in. And I love how big the input fields are. You know me, I love when we design like fat finger friendly user interfaces, and so this one is definitely
Yeah, you know,
fat.
I built the app primarily for tablet because I figure most children have tablets versus phones.
That is true.
Phone is nice in a car. A parent might give the phone to the child while they're in the car, but mostly kids have tablets that are younger generation, or a parent will allow the child to use a tablet. So, um, I kind of built it for that, but it's still
Okay.
usable on.
No, that's smart insight, right? It's like I completely forgot about that, but every kid I know is always with a tablet. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so really cool feature here. Create a PIN code. This PIN will be used to confirm purchases and prevent little ones from subscribing without your consent. Holy moly. What a feature. I feel like so many parents would appreciate this. How did you know this was a feature worth adding?
A lot of parents have restrictions already on their Google store, their Apple store.
Mm.
But I just wanted one little extra layer to give parents the confidence that I'm not going to charge them if they didn't approve it, and I also don't want to deal with refunds.
Ah, smart.
Me, I don't want parents to come back and say I didn't authorize this, and now I have to go through the whole refund process. So
Right.
it's a layer for both of us.
New story notification. Would you like to receive a notification when new stories are released? Yes. So cool. So this is the homepage.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Tell me about it. What should I do here?
Those are all of the free stories that are available to everybody on the free tab. So you can, if you tap like the very first one, that's an adventure
You
story.
are our new Lottie animation queen. Like you just have the cutest animations all over the place. This is so
It's
awesome.
animation. They love things that move and
You're
keep them
right. And
entertained.
that's
And
what I'm
they
saying. Like this
about
app
both of them.
UI is like so like just unique and cute, and there's just the right amount of copy, of like creativity, of like proper UX kind of principles. Like you still have really strong alignment, really strong hierarchy of text. Everything looks super professional, but you've just done a honestly just amazing job of being witty at the same time.
Thank you. And
Yeah.
those are easy to change out, right? Like once a month, I'll probably update all of those images. So yeah, you've got
Okay.
your
So free
ebooks, the ones,
stories.
yep, and then you've
What
got a
happens if I
tab.
tap?
Yeah, do that one. That's a great
Rainbow
one.
Adventures.
Ah.
So if you turn the autoplay on up at the top,
One
it will
sunny
say
day in the magical forest, Ruby the fox and Carl the rabbit were playing near their favorite waterfall.
Wow, that is so cool. So you built out these pages too?
Mhm.
Wow. And you
Yeah,
wrote the
and
stories.
they're just refresh. It's one page that refreshes and plays each page, and then um,
That is so cool.
yeah,
That
there's
is so cool.
kind of a little surprise at the end.
And these recordings, are these AI? Is this you? What are the recordings?
11 Labs is doing really good. You can record your own voice, so you get the pace and the tone that you want, and then you can convert that using AI.
Wow. And I got your surprise at the end here. That's sweet.
Yeah, and I can change. I'll probably change that once a week, so it's always different. But
Yeah, one thing I will say though is like your app is going to have you're going to have to live and breathe your analytics here because you have so many steps in the story that you're going to want to understand like what's your story completion rate, where in the story are people spending the most time, and those are all things that you can do in Mixpanel. We have that whole module on Mixpanel analytics, so you should definitely set that up and then attend one of Caleb's sessions, and Caleb can also coach you through implementing those analytics. But um, the stories are fantastic. I think I mentioned this to you prior too, but you're gonna find that, and I think Adrian's a good person for you to talk to as well because Adrian has the romance storytelling app, and he says that there are only 2 or 3 stories out of hundreds that they have that produce the majority of their revenue, and you're gonna have probably that same effect too. There's gonna be 1 or 2 hit, stories that people are gonna love, and so you need to be able to have the analytics to track
yeah,
those things.
and it is one of the reasons that I put the option or in the library. If you leave a story and you come back and you want to come back to it, and it picks you up where you left off, and that also helps me with analytics to find out where people are leaving and if they ever return, right?
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so if I tap on library, it says personal library, and you're saying that this is a paid feature. I need to subscribe.
Yeah.
So if I hit monthly subscription, okay, so let me I know you said that you're not completely done with the revenue cat integration here, but it looks like it's working.
Good.
Okay. You can't see my password, right? No. Wow, so cool. You even have that going. That means it will work in production if it's working here. Nice. I just subscribed. Usually takes a second. Wow. Sweet. You just made $6 fake from me. Let's go. Welcome, Pro. You now have access to read all of our stories. Sweet.
Yeah,
Okay,
and
now
with those other stories, if you weren't pro, like if you watched one that wasn't free, you'd get to
Mhm.
watch the first page, and then a pop-up would happen if you tried to proceed, and it would say to read the rest of the story, go pro. So
Love that.
I put a paywall on all of the stories that weren't free.
Ah, cool.
Yeah, and if you hit the little heart button on that first one, there you go. Now when you go to your library, it will be in your favorites.
Very nice.
And then the Your Stories has,
You mind if I give you some feedback, just kind of
yes,
like ended? Like,
yes,
I think the card should be smaller so that
okay.
you can fit more stories on the page because even at PrizePicks, um, we put a lot of emphasis on what was the first item in our homepage because that was just naturally going to get the most clicks. You're going to find so much interesting data based on the order of your stories. And I think it's super important for you to have more stories, maybe at least 2 or 3 visible above the fold. And the fold is before you scroll. And then also, I think since you're selling the benefits, you should have like characteristics or traits of the story or outcomes like problem solving,
Oh, that's
critical
great.
thinking,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. Because then, like, I know if I'm a parent and I see my child uh, make a bad decision that day, I could be like, I want to do a story that helps them make better decisions or helps them
Good idea.
solve problems. I think that could be really cool. So then,
Um,
go ahead.
one of the reasons that it is big is because it's for a tablet.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So when they're
Yeah,
small, you get a lot on a tablet, but
I got you.
it's not as visually appealing. And right now, I only have a few stories, so I
Mm,
don't have a ton to put in there. But I do believe that once I get more stories in there, I'll probably do a smaller list view um, for mobile and keep this view for tablet.
yeah. I
Yeah,
definitely need to get you on a call or have Adrian do office hours and pick his brain a bit because they were in the same situation when they were building their storytelling app. Like they only had a few stories at first, and then they were scaling it via subscriptions, but then they found out that they were leaving a lot of money on the table. So then they tested like pay per story, and then that skyrocketed their LTVs, and they were able to make a lot more money and keep people coming back. Um, so I would definitely want to get Adrian involved with you at some point here.
oh, that would be
But
great.
nice.
But I
Um,
love your idea of story traits. I think that's fabulous. I'm gonna really think on that and see what I can come up with. Click the
cool,
first story there. Click the Alex story real quick.
Alex.
Yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
go ahead and click through, and then we'll be able to see kind of that interaction option. I just loaded this last night, so it's probably caching all of those
How did you do the
images.
learning management system? Did you build a learning management system? Are you just inserting it straight into the database? Like, what's your backend look
Yeah,
like for this?
I'm doing it manually into the database. I've
You
tried,
are
yesterday I
such
went down the database rabbit hole with Firestore to try to see if I could just get the URLs that they pre-populate for them. So upload them all directly into Firebase and then just use the links. But yeah, it doesn't work like that.
okay. So we have two tools. One is called Firefoo that we can give you access to. we have licenses for all of the builders. It's called Firefu. It's a really clean back like admin interface for Firebase.
Oh,
So
that'd be
remind me
helpful.
right after this call. I'll get you access to that. And then secondly, there's one that we are partnering with called FireView. It's a new product. It's not out yet. We
Okay.
are unofficially like beta testing with them, and that's like it's like Notion but for Firebase. And so they're kind of co-creating it with us. I'll get you access to that once I can. We don't have open access to it yet, but for FireView, I'll definitely give you access.
Yeah, that would be great. I use, every story has over like 120 different um,
So we need to get you a good workflow.
pages.
Okay, what
So
should Alex
I'm
do
manually
next?
doing all of
Is this where the choose your whole adventure comes into play?
that. Yeah.
Okay. So what should Alex do next? A, follow the map closely. Maps can be reliable. Ignore the map. Great explorers don't need maps. So I have to pick, I can tap on one and it will work?
Hmm.
That's crazy. Whoa. Randy, I think you should bring that way earlier in the story. Um, that's going to increase the retention rate of the story, I feel like, because you're going to get people interacting earlier. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
I'm still trying to, so I have, my beta sessions are actually quite different.
okay.
For my app, my beta sessions are going to be with children.
Uh,
They can look at the stories and then I can get feedback from the parents and the children. Are the stories engaging? Do they like the choose your own adventure? Are they bored? Is the imagery what they like? Is it too wordy? Am I doing the right reading levels for your child? So for me, my beta testing will be on the content
right.
versus the app because I've already tested the app thoroughly to make sure it works. And then in the future, I might do enhancements once I get the storytelling down right.
That makes sense. That makes perfect sense for sure. Um, that makes perfect sense. I was going to say something. Yeah, I think it's good that you're focusing on like the meat of it. And then I think eventually once like the content is in a good spot, then
Mhm.
it'll become a math equation more than anything else. It'll be like how many times can I get someone to start a story? How many times how quickly can I get them to complete it, or how often can I get them to complete it? I think there's some interesting stuff there. Oh, one thing I thought of, um, there's one app that I think is in the children's space that actually asks during the onboarding, like what time do you put your kids to bed? And
Mhm.
like it will send you notifications at the time that you put your kid to bed.
I'm
Um,
pretty sure I know that. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
You've
Right
had a-
on. This is so impressive. So talk to me about how you built this. Like, um, yeah, how many hours a week were you putting in to build this app over the last, I don't know, what, 3, 4 months?
Yeah, it was a full-time job for me. So I was
Okay.
putting in 40, 50 hours a week. Um, Between building the app, the lesson labs, and all of the coursework that I was going through to learn not just how to build the app, but the whole foundational Figma, Kanban, database structure, design, all of that
Yeah,
fun stuff. So I spent 100% of my time doing this. I was not, like I said, working at the time, so I just put 100% effort into it, and I was spending, a lot of time just,
40, 50 hours a week, just going
yeah.
hard on the app. Did you use your Kanban board pretty religiously, or were you kind of free roguing, as you would say?
No, I'm an organization freak.
Okay,
That is
good.
my favorite.
Okay, so
And because I came from IT, I know the value of having that structure, understanding and testing thoroughly and checking off every box in that test because
mhm,
if things don't work right and they're not tested thoroughly, it's going to be a bad user experience and nobody's going to, they're just never going to open your app again if they have a bad experience, right? So for
for
me,
sure.
I loved the Kanban boards. I loved writing my test scripts and understanding where I was in the process and keeping track of, oh God, I gotta go back and fix that. I gotta fix that. I gotta fix that. I'll do it later,
Yeah,
do it later. And then you forget. So for me, the Kanban boards were priceless, right?
that's
Like
awesome.
it,
It's nice to hear someone who comes from a professional background, place that emphasis on Kanban. Some of the newer builders, they struggle to see the value, but a lot of builders do see the value once we get it up and running for them. So that's
right.
good. Um, And then I guess like how did you use Dreams into Apps? Because everyone uses the program in different ways. Some people find value in the coaching, some find value in the coursework, some in the community. Like what was your week to week life like inside of the program?
Well, I would attend every single meeting, every single lesson. Like I would get up in the morning, I would do the lessons that I was scheduled to do. I would attend the meetings, and then in between the meetings I would be working on the app, doing the things that I wanted to do, so that when I knew a next technical session was coming up, and if I was hitting a brick wall or I didn't know how to do something, I
Mm,
would I would be able to, just ask in that meeting. And then, I spent a lot of time on YouTube, still Flutter Flow University, and a lot
yeah,
of others to try to fill in the gaps for, I just need to do this one little thing. Like maybe I can go find this at the time that I needed it at that moment. And then I get as far as I could. And then if I still couldn't get it to work or I had problems, I would, ask it in one of the technical sessions.
got you.
Were invaluable, but it's so hard for me to remember like all the way back to the beginning.
I know. And like every day is a blur when you're working on a startup. Like I don't even know the days of the week. I just know a weekday and then the weekend. I don't know anything else anymore. And Friday. So very cool.
Yeah,
Um,
a lot of late nights.
awesome. And I know you've given a lot of feedback about the program and the curriculum, and you're seeing us address that. I would love to get some feedback on, yeah, just us. Like, do you see us taking in the feedback and making adjustments and getting better? Because I know that you've been vocal a few times, and we've tried our best to jump on it. Would love to hear anything about that.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed it. It's I couldn't have done this without the program at all. Like I never would have gotten as far as I did because there's just not enough information out there on the internet or even in Chat GPT that
Yeah,
allows you to do the tasks, because every app is different and we all have our own needs and we all have our own requirements. I built a very simple app in my opinion compared to some of the others. I'm not using APIs and BuildShip and some of those other integrations that others are using. I might in the future, I might do AI story writing as kind of a feature within the app. And I feel capable and enabled to do that because of the education that I've had within the program. Like
that's
I'll
awesome.
use that in the future. And the ability to still have access to those lessons, um,
Yeah, we
even
want
though
we want we want you around for a long time. I want to see you all the way through adventure stories, and I'm sure you're gonna have more ideas in the future. But honestly, like I think you have the foundation set up.
yeah,
Now it's a matter of focusing on the meat of the product.
yeah,
But that's really nice to hear. And I know you're also contributing a bit to Dreams into Apps. That's going to be awesome. I'm really excited to have more of the resource, the YouTube video playlists, and some of the other things beefed up. And then you've also given a lot of feedback on our new learning platform as well. And I think you validated some of the features that we are building. So thank you for that. Super excited to see where the future goes. But yeah, I guess like my big last question is: would you recommend Dreams into Apps? And if so, who would you recommend it to?
so I'm gonna diverge just for a minute
Sure.
because I want to say that the some of the pieces of the program, besides the documentation and the videos and the work sessions that you allow us to have together on a daily basis, are phenomenal and valuable because you're getting the help that you need at the time that you need it, which is critical when you're trying to cruise through and build an app as fast as you can, but with great quality, right? But also the one-on-one coaching. When I had those questions, I would bank them up, and being able to talk to Sandro or Kamish or on the database, or how am I going to do this, or explain this to me because I'm just not getting it. Like
Yeah.
that piece is invaluable, and you're not going to get that with a developer or anybody else that you hire.
Yeah.
Well, for me, that was key. right? Like I can watch a video anytime, but I just need to talk to somebody. I just need to ask this question. I just need their expertise on how I should go about this
Yeah.
because I see this in my head, but I don't know the best known method to do it. And
Mm.
the coaching and the program really gives you that because you don't know what you don't know.
So
But
Randy,
experts
the
know.
cold truth is that not everybody has that mindset. We see so many people who come in and they come in, big headed. They think they have the answers, but it's like you need to trust us. You need to trust the expertise. We're working with hundreds of apps. We've all built dozens of apps.
Yeah.
Um, what's the mindset that you need to have? Because a lot of people come in their first 2 weeks and then they just get humbled. Like it's
Yeah.
not what they thought it was going to be. And it's not because of their inability. It's just because of the mindset that you have to have and actually the reality. Would love to hear a bit about the mindset that enabled you to be successful.
Yeah. I kept myself open. I mean, you have to put your ego aside and you have to say, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm confident in myself that I can do it if I have the right path, right? So it's not just relying on your program. Like you still got to go educate yourself. You still got to go ask GTP how to do something. You still got to, take that motivation. Your program isn't going to teach you everything that you could
Right.
possibly ever need to know to build that app. It's a tool in your tool belt that you're using to reach a goal.
For
But
sure.
you still got to do all the other stuff that you were doing before you joined the program.
Yeah.
It doesn't, you guys aren't there to solve everything for us. Like we still got to figure it out. And
Yeah.
that's
We're all scientists. We don't know all the answers. We're all scientists in the way that we approach problems and we try to solve them.
right. You just have to be open and keep learning and keep trying and do what you can in a day
Did you
and,
think you would be able to do it? I mean,
and to
I think
guide on the path that is best
yeah,
and not think you know the best path already.
I appreciate that. That is so, so important. I can't understate that enough.
Yeah.
Um,
And the community, I'll say the community is invaluable as well. Like getting support from the other people in the program and even hearing their struggles and learning from their struggles while you're going along. You're like, oh, I remember Joe had that problem. I'm going to use Superbrain to figure out what meeting they solved that in. And then I'm going to go look at it. Right. So
yeah,
again, using your own brain to go look for the answers that are already there without going into a meeting saying, how do I do this? When you know that it was already solved,
for
right?
sure.
Using your own.
Can you talk about your experience with the Superbrain? Because you're one of the few builders who are actively using it because it just got rolled out a few weeks ago, and you saw us when we first launched it and how kind of basic it was. Would
That's
love to
great.
just a couple minutes on like where it was when we first launched it and like where it is today and how you use it.
Yeah, it was non-existent, right? I kept thinking, God, they've got all of this data in all of these meetings and they're solving these problems over and over and over and over and over again for people because somebody came in 3 weeks later and didn't know that was solved in a meeting before for somebody else. And
Yeah,
oh my gosh, I could save so much time if they just had a way to search all their meetings. And then bam, he came out with Supabase. And I'm like, all right, and I did this last week. I said, give me all the information I need on installing and using Mixpanel.
oh
And
really?
bam, like I got this huge list of all the
Wow,
videos and all of the installations and all of the documentation. And I'm like, all right, when I'm ready, I got this, right?
that's
Like,
awesome.
here it
And
is.
Superbrain, it's gonna get so much better too. Very excited about like the future of it, and then um, excited when it's at the point where, like I told you, we're gonna build out your whole Kanban board and then attach all the lessons that you need for each item in your Kanban board. That's gonna be a game changer. I'm so
I
excited
think
for
it
that.
will too. I think
Um,
it will too.
so that'll be fun. But Randy, thank you so much for everything that you've done, and then congratulations, huge on this app. Like this is absolutely massive. I would love to hear your goals. Like, what's next in the next 30 days, 30 to 60 days with your app?
Yeah, I want to get more stories in there, get more stories done so that I can fill up the library have people feel like it's worth the value of paying for it.
Yeah.
Once I do that, I'll probably change the subscription to something else, give more options. But right now it's very basic because there's not a whole lot in there. There's everything is free basically right now. So get those stories in there, then get some user sessions going so I can get some feedback on the stories, make sure they're
Yeah.
great. And then once I feel, hopefully that will happen over the next 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
Just heads down
And
now,
then
not much attention to
marketing.
the app, but more of the stories.
How are you thinking about marketing? Have you like thought about like parent newsletters, blogs, influencers, stuff like that?
Yeah, I haven't. I mean,
Okay.
I know that I know that I have to come up with a strategy for marketing, but I've been so focused on how do I market when I don't feel like my app is marketable yet?
Mm,
Like I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. I just feel like I got to make the app everything that I want it to be, and then once that is, I'll launch to Apple. I'll redo the subscriptions and maybe do a marketing campaign. Um,
nice.
Once I feel like people are going to look at the app and go, "Oh, there's tons of stories in here. My kid wants to read them all." Like, okay, 5.99, yeah, just give me access so my kid go gung ho instead
Yeah.
of 5 or 6 stories. So
Huge. That's
I really
awesome.
think
That's
that.
awesome. And I hope to be part of that growth because we are working with a few marketing partners because that's the next step in all the builders journey now. It's like they've launched their app, now what? So we're working with a couple companies who number one is a company that's going to bring influencers with a lot of followers on
Mm,
TikTok and Instagram to you guys, and we're going to try to match influencers who have followings with apps that are already built, and then you guys can work out like deals to promote the app
oh,
where
great,
the
yeah.
influencers will promote it and then you guys will just pretty much build it and maintain it. So that's one partnership we're working on. And then paid advertising is a option, but like we don't really want to recommend paid ads to a lot of y'all because it's just really expensive and it takes a lot of money to get off the ground. So organic marketing is going to be one thing, and then getting y'all connected with people who have like newsletters and blogs are also going to be huge too. Because our goal is to provide you guys with like the most cost-effective ways to scale the products. So you can expect that in the coming months too. Once we launch the V3, it's going to be a lot of cool stuff like that too.
That would be great.
Yeah.
I did with Google. You can do the teacher approved
Oh,
rating, so they review it and they approve it, which I think is helpful. But also, I was thinking daycares and libraries and
ah,
any place that people would, you know, have kids that would want something educational for their kids. Maybe would recommend my app to parents.
yeah, that's a fantastic idea.
Yeah, I mean,
Very
yeah,
cool.
there's lots of different ways, little TikToks and Instagrams and stuff like that. But um, I'll get there. This will help.
For sure. All right, Randy. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. This was a lot of fun. I'll make sure to leave a link in the description for your app so that people can download it. We'll also be making a bunch of shorts out of this too and pushing traffic to the app. So excited about all that. Thank you for everything.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate you.
It's been fun.